We can talk to Juliette Touma, who is the communication director for Gaza at UNRWA. And Juliette, obviously UNRWA at the moment unable to fully provide aid facilities in Gaza. Just bring us up to date. What is the positioning of your people on the ground? Are they in any way able to support Palestinians in Gaza?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Look, it's an endless horror show, except it's real. It's been more than 600 days of this, an abomination that is made far, far worse by the bombardment, by the siege, by the ban on UNRWA from bringing in supplies, and by this heat wave that this region is going through with very little water available for people in Gaza.
And when it comes to aid distribution, just where is UNRWA right now? Because we understand that there is this Israeli and US-backed mechanism, the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, that is now taking over and distributing aid. What is UNRWA's positioning now in Gaza?
UNRWA is based across the Gaza Strip, wherever we're allowed and able to work. We have shelters, for example, that we manage for the displaced people who continue to come into these shelters. You've mentioned yourself about these forced displacement orders. So every time there is such an order, people come to UNRWA shelters. Then we have the clinics, we have the medical points, and we continue to distribute whatever we still have available. Now we've run out of food, which is a key commodity for people. That happened 2 months ago. And for the past 4 months, UNRWA has not been allowed to bring any supplies into Gaza, including food, but other basics like medicine and hygiene supplies, let alone fuel.
Juliette, given the difficulties and the lack of ability of UNRWA to work in Gaza, I just want to help us to understand what your teammates are telling you from the ground there, because we heard over the past few days how the head of the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation adamantly denies that there are shootings and people losing their lives at the distribution points of this new mechanism. And yet, when we speak to medics on the ground in Gaza, we are hearing that when that aid is distributed, there is an increase of footfall of people who have been wounded at those aid distribution sites. What is your understanding of what is happening on the ground?
Yes, well, you see, at UNRWA, we have a team of 12,000 people who continue to work wherever they are permitted to work. And they have spoken to people who are survivors of these killings, these mass killings that are happening, the fire being opened at starving people who have been gathered, invited to their own death party, really. And they told us harrowing stories of men and women who had to go through what is a disgrace, really, just to get some food. And there is no need for this so-called foundation that has been set up. There is a need to lift the siege and to allow the United Nations, including and especially UNRWA, the largest humanitarian organization in Gaza, to do our work, just like we were doing during the ceasefire back in January.
Juliette, Médecins Sans Frontières have described what is happening with this new mechanism, this new aid distribution facility, as a slaughter masquerading as aid. Is that something that you would repeat?
Yes, it is a killing field, and this shouldn't be the case. People must be allowed access to the basics, and not only food, in an orderly way, and that can only be done through the United Nations and other humanitarian organizations who have more than 400 distribution centers across the Gaza Strip. We could do that back in January when we were bringing in 500, 600 trucks of supplies every single day, and we were distributing. We should go back to that. That's the very least.
Juliette Touma, Communications Director for UNRWA in Gaza, thank you very much for speaking to us here on BBC.